I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Stelina. Together, we are moms to 5 children, including 2 sets of twins.
At Tweet Dreamzz, we are passionate about helping families achieve the peaceful night's rest they deserve because we were formerly overwhelmed and sleep deprived ourselves.
We love nothing more than helping families achieve their specific sleep goals,
so the whole family can be rested and thriving.
On this podcast, you'll not just hear about sleep-related topics. We'll chat about how it started,
where we are today,
and the experiences that have shaped us as mothers of twins.
We hope you'll enjoy listening to the ups and downs,
the highs and lows, and everything in between.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Twin Life with Tweet Dreamzz. It's Lindsay and Stelina here. We are so excited to be here today to record this episode. We've taken some time off. We're happy to be here today. Nothing could have stopped this recording. Okay, so we're so happy that you're here. Recently, I had reached out on Instagram saying, hey, twin parents, what are some topics you'd like to hear about on the podcast? And one mom specifically said sleep challenges. And so I was like, yes, let's elaborate on that. So I put up another box and I said, what sleep challenges are you experiencing with your twins? And guys, so many comments, right, Stelina?
So many.
So we're going to tackle some of these, sort of just like an open Q&A. I think this is really going to help you not feel so alone, that these are other problems and worst case scenarios that other moms are working through, and that Stelina and I have worked through these ourselves with our own twins, right? So we're going to start off with one that we both can speak to, but I'm going to let Stelina speak to it. And we've talked a little bit about this before, like on our sleep anxiety and like our rigidity with sleep. Mm-hmm. Well, so one mom said, how to respond when told I'm too regimented with my twins' schedule. Let's get into that.
I love this question because I've been asked this question many times. So what I would say, honestly, and what I do say usually is that I'm doing what's best for my family. And a lot of people who ask this question don't usually have twins, first of all, right? So they can't even comprehend what it's like to have twins. And that's okay. That's not their fault. But unless you have twins, I don't think you can fully understand how important the schedule, the syncing, and them sleeping really is, right? And I think that you will agree with me, Lindsay, how important those breaks are for us and for the kids too. So the number one thing I say from the beginning is like, hey, look, I'm just doing what works best for me and my family. And a lot of the time that'll work and people will be like, oh, okay, all right, no problem. Now, if people really want to get into like the technical reasons, like, I am just team baby sleep over here, of course. So like if they have follow-up questions and they're like, oh, but really, why are you so rigid with the sleep? And honestly, sure, I love, that we're on a schedule and everything like that because I'm so type A, but there are just so many benefits to the twins, any kids really, getting the appropriate amount of sleep, right? Like we know that, 75% of human growth hormone is secreted while kids sleep, right? So when kids sleep, they're growing, their memory is hard at work, right? Like kids are sponges when they're little. They're just learning so much so fast. Like they need their naps, they need their sleep, they need a break. I know, and I know you can agree that kids just really thrive with routine and when they know what to expect. And, I'm a twin parent.
Exactly.
I have twins, as you all know, but I also have a son who's 18 months. My twins are going to be 3 tomorrow. Happy birthday, twins. So, I've just found that honestly, we just all do so much better when we know what to expect. We know what the schedule is. They know when nap time is. They know when bedtime is. For the most part, they can't tell time, but they know what's going on, and that works for my family. And that's what I would say, honestly. And you should not feel
100%.
like you need to change what you're doing if it works for you. And also, there's no problem if people don't want to follow a sleep schedule and they want to do what works for them. I don't have a problem with that. Do what works for you in your house, right? Like I can't copy and paste what you're doing into my house. You don't know what happens here. I would just say it in a very kind and nice way that this is what I'm doing. And if I have to go home for nap time or if I have to go home early for bedtime, like it's because this is what works for me. It's not because I'm trying to be like this terrible parent that needs my kids to go to bed at X time. No, I'm just trying to do what works best for us. So say it with a smile on your face. Preach. If you want to call me or text me, I can help you, give you some more verbiage on this. I've had this conversation with people many times, and I just don't feel bad about it.
I mean, exactly. And that's just a boundary that you put up that like, this is what we're doing. We're coming to Christmas late. We're not going to be at the birthday party. And then the reaction of the other person is not your problem.
Exactly.
Okay. All the family and caregivers in my household, when they would watch the twins, they loved that I had a schedule.
Oh yeah.
Like my mom's like, thank God I don't have to like guess
wing it
about anything. Wing it. I'm not in my winging era over here. Like she just really liked that I had a very straightforward routine with them and that my kids knew the routine. And in the early days, like the unpredictability, and Stelina and I are both the same Enneagram. We're an Enneagram 6. So shout out to anybody who can relate to us. We don't like surprises. Okay. We like a plan. So in the beginning, I felt so dysregulated that it was like the boogeyman was going to jump out of the closet like at any second. And I just felt so vulnerable. So for us, this works. And it sounds like it works for this mama too. She's just kind of feeling like a little bit judged for it, but just set your boundary and you're good to go. Okay.
Right. Yep. We're not judging you.
No.
So one mom asked, what do you do when one twin is more likely to fall asleep in the car than the other one? He or she maybe just requires more sleep than the other one, and they have different sleep needs. Like, what do you do for the twins in this circumstance?
Right. So I definitely lived through that. One of my twins, my baby A, if she was in the car, even though it wasn't nap time, you better believe she was always going to get some version of drowsiness. So first of all, I was a little bit rigid in that we picked that awake window where I felt like my kids were the most awake. Like if it's Saturday and we know we have to run errands, probably the morning wake window isn't the best time because we know kids are just sleepy in that window. So maybe we would choose like the middle one or the one after their second nap, just talking 2 naps here, because the chances of them getting drowsy and things like that just weren't going to happen. Roll down the windows, turn on some nursery rhymes. And then adversely, the same thing would backfire against me. Like, let's say I was trying to get my kids a nap in the car because we were on vacation or we were running to an appointment and I wanted them to sleep. My baby A would just fall right to sleep. And my baby B would scream her flippin' head off. Okay.
So fun.
So we had to deal with that for 20 minutes while she finally like just wore herself out, passed out. So I can see both sides of that. But when we think about if that happens, I think it really is dependent on the child. My twins, could they sleep 10 minutes in the car and then I could transfer them to nap time in the crib? No. Okay. They were like, oh, I'm refreshed. I'm like an Energizer bunny. I slept 5 minutes. Like I'm good. But I've seen plenty of clients in plan who are like, and I don't know if you have Stelina as well, where they're like, oh, baby fell asleep on the way home from the doctor and I transferred them to the crib and they're still sleeping. And I was like, how did you get that to happen? Because my kids never did that. So some kids are able to do that. Also, if you do get a mishap nap in the car, drive around, get yourself a Starbucks, sit in the car and scroll your phone, maybe listen to an audiobook. Those are a couple of things. Okay, but when we think about different sleep needs, been there as well. And I've talked about this before, but let's push that lower sleep need. Let's push the higher sleep needs baby sort of along with the lower sleep needs baby if we can. So for example, when my twins were 6.5 months old, my baby B was like, girlfriend, I'm not taking 3 naps anymore. I don't care what you do to my schedule. I'm not doing it. Whereas my baby A was like, yeah, I'll keep taking 3 naps, but we were between a rock and a hard place. I can't have 4 hours in between where baby B was, likely to be awake. So we had to push my baby A into that schedule. and she adapted pretty quickly, maybe more so than you would think. So that's one option. Also, if we have different sleep needs and we're sharing the same room, that means mom might be worried about they slept, 65 minutes. The nap time is 90 minutes. Baby B is awake and baby A is still sleeping. Okay, right? We're going to leave baby B in their bed for the full nap time. So we've shared before that my twins were separated when they were taking 2 naps, meaning separate rooms. Baby B still did the crib time. And the way we got there is just to really practice some crib autonomy. I'm in my crib. I'm safe. I'm fine. Just because I'm awake doesn't mean I need to get out right away. Did we have to work through some protesting? Probably, right? Off and on, depending on what they have going on. But that would be my best advice there is and especially as we get to 2 naps, we're not like micromanaging naps and wake windows as much as we think we might be. So if baby B sleeps a longer nap or baby A sleeps a longer nap, your second nap of the day is still at the same time, right? Bedtime is probably still around the same time. We're not going to swing things either way. It'd make it really just kind of shake and settle out. So hopefully that helps. But at the end of the day, twins are 2 individuals, fraternal, boy, girl, identical. They're going to be different. I know, Stelina, you have very different sleepers.
Mm-hmm. And actually, just to your point, I would always joke with my husband and I was like, we're on baby B's schedule. Like that's what we're doing because baby A similarly could sleep more. If I let her, she could probably sleep in longer. If she was a singleton, we'd be having a different conversation right now, but so many benefits to them being twins. So let's just look at the positive there. And yeah, we're just on B's schedule. That's what we're doing. She's more adaptable. Baby A is more adaptable. So we're on B's schedule to make everybody's life easier. That's just what we did too.
Yeah. No, that's a really good way to think about it. So yeah, if it's A or B, whose schedule are we on this month or this lifetime? It's usually one or the other. Hey, twin mom, we see you. When we say we get it, we really do. At Tweet Dreamzz, we are a team of sleep consultants who are also raising twins at home. Our twin sleep coaching packages are specifically tailored to your babies, making the journey of teaching independent sleep as stress-free as possible. Trust our years of experience working with twins so that you can feel relieved that the answers lie with us. Start by booking your free discovery call to learn more, because we can't wait to meet you and help you with your sleep goals. You can find the link to book your call in the show notes. I mean, this is a good one, and we've talked a little bit about it before, and you can talk about this. This mom says to share a room or not to share a room, more encouragement to separate sooner. That's a unique opinion, wouldn't you say?
It is unique. However, I can agree with this mom for wanting a little bit more encouragement to separate them sooner rather than later, just because I was actually in her shoes before too. So I had my twins in the same room and we had an episode on this as well. So you can definitely go back and listen to that on, like, if you want some more details. However, just quickly here. So my twins were in the same room for almost a year, probably like 10, 11 months. We go over this in depth in our episode. So many benefits to having them in the same room, especially for the caregiver. You're only in one room, super cute, one nursery to decorate, like bonding, hooray, yada, yada. But like we just said, sometimes they have different sleep needs and sometimes they are different sleepers. Like one is a louder sleeper, one can sleep through noises, one really can't, lots to consider there. So I had a hard time with this decision. And actually, Lindsay, I did reach out to you about this because my husband was like, let's just move them. Like we have the extra room. Like I can't deal with them waking each other up and like their night sleep is getting fragmented and I just want them in different rooms. And I was like, oh, it's okay. Like they're cute. The room is so cute, blah, blah, blah. And then one day he was like, we're doing it. And I was like, all right, fine. I mean, we're going to do it anyway. I knew we were going to move them at some point. Like we had the plans to move them. We just didn't know the age because we had the space and we moved them. And, I found a lot of comfort actually in moving them sooner rather than later too, because I moved them before they had any sort of say in it. Okay. So like they don't remember sharing the room. I made the decision for them. Me and my husband made the decision for them. They don't remember sharing a room ever. So they were never like, oh, but I really want to stay with my sister or something like that. So we didn't even ever have to tackle that. ultimately they ended up sleeping better because, just to be like extremely blunt here, usually they can sleep better separately. That doesn't mean that they won't sleep great in the same room. Okay. Like, we sleep train most of the twins in the same room, and they do amazing. I think they just have a lot more practice sleeping through each other's noises, whines, little cries, talks. Like, they just get used to it. But just think about it. If you just eliminate the factor completely, it's not there. Okay. So it can't be a problem. Okay.
Right.
So if you have the room to do it and you're on the fence about it, I would just do it. Like, what are you waiting for? You have plans to do it in the future anyway. Just get it out of the way. That's what I would do. So hopefully that gives you like the little push to do it. But again, for everybody listening here whose twins are sharing a room, because that's like 95% of the twins that we help sleep train, like, it's not an issue. We work with parents all the time. So many strategies. If you don't have the space to move your twins, or you just don't want to, also totally fine. But from somebody who moved them, before a year old, I definitely see the benefits of that.
Yes.
And you
all
do
good
too.
Tips.
You moved them early too, right? Yeah.
I did. And again, it just wasn't really a thought in the beginning about ever separating them, because I just had that preconceived notion of twins, the same, share, convenience,
roommates, like roommates, roommates, all that, all those sayings. Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean we're separating them? And it's like, no, like they're fine.
Yeah. And exactly. And yeah, I did that because I had the capacity to do that. Like, twins are 6. They still sleep in the different rooms when we travel, which is often. And when we go to our like summer lake house, which is often, probably 5 to 7 weekends out of the summer, they sleep in the same room and they love it. And, the novelty has worn off. Now it's just like, they loved it in the beginning. So cute, giggle, so many giggles and getting in trouble, but all that has worn off and they do get excited, right? So at least I have that. I didn't share a room with my siblings growing up, but I do have those fond memories of, hotel rooms and cottages and things like that for vacations. So bring the band back together whenever you want. Also separate them as it just makes sense for you. We don't care what anybody thinks about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. So there's one last one that's really good here. So one mom asked, we're transitioning to toddler beds, how to keep the boundary to stay in the room. I know you've worked with so many toddlers, and I have 2 toddlers here at home. So please give us all the advice.
Yeah. And guys, I'd really love to do a separate episode on this. I think there's a lot to talk about. I've also written a blog on it just so it's in writing there. We can link it in the show notes. There's a couple things when we think about toddlers and coming out of a crib, even if it's just a single kid. So definitely, as we know, with being twin parents, the other kid is a giant variable in this equation, right? So just kind of like what I talked about, that novelty, open freedom, a singleton's going to struggle with that depending on personality. They're going to struggle with that. And then when we have maybe one ringleader, which, hi, baby B, how are you? Baby A is going to go along with that. So you might understand this dynamic a little bit. Okay. So when we think about going to toddler beds with twins, there's a couple just key markers, whether we're twins or not. And that is, if the crib is still working, let's keep the crib. Okay. What age are they? 3 to 4 years old, between 3 and 4 years old is a good time to transition. Not before that. Can you be successful before that? Sure, you can, but it's going to be more difficult, and it's probably going to require more maintenance, because if we think about impulse control at a 2-year-old, Selena, you can say this, you used to have 2-year-olds, you're soon to have 3-year-olds. It's a night and day difference.
So different.
Okay. Don't pick up the scissors. Don't run out in front of the car. These are drastic situations. A 2-year-old doesn't have that impulse control to say, I want to do it, but I'm not going to do it. And so we really see that come through at 3 years old. So what does that look like? You're not allowed to leave the room, but I really want to leave the room, but I'm not going to leave the room because I'm understanding the boundary. big differences in maturity here. And that's why we're recommending 3.5, 4 years old. We took the side off of the crib at 3.5. That worked for us. They were happy in their cribs, all the things. Okay, so another factor is the cribs, the age, and then what prep work you're willing to do to make it successful. If we just take that crib apart and put them in this giant queen bed and say, night-night, we haven't really set up any expectations. So when you're ready, we have to do a lot of prep work with visual tools, family meetings, role play if we need to, clear and kind boundaries. When you guys get up, somebody comes out of the room, dad's going to walk you back, right? At this age, we feel a little bit pressured, maybe out of sync, out of control, because our toddlers are very adamant. We are afraid of their big emotions, right, Selena? I mean, we
have a lot of emotions here, but yes, I get it.
Yeah, and it's like a survivalist mechanism. Like, if we just get rid of the purple plate out of the dishwasher, even though it's dirty, we can avoid this meltdown. But is that the right solution? Right? The purple plate's dirty. Okay.
But we have
some
soap.
Of that learning.
No, I'm joking.
Right. But some of this learning on the job experience, which I can say in hindsight. And I mean, even I had to use some of this morning. My daughter was having a tantrum, meltdown, about her sister getting extra attention. And I needed to brush her hair for school. And I said, either you can come over here yourself and sit on my lap so I can brush your hair, or I'm going to come over, I'm going to physically help you move over here. And she chose the right thing, and she got up and walked over there, which I was like, whew, I won that one, versus just manhandling her from the beginning, not brushing her hair, right? So really kind of coming at it with a very objective frame of mind can help. Anyways, long story short is we have to have a plan for when our kids have big emotions around getting out of the cribs and into toddler beds. They have big emotions when they felt scared one time, and now we're in a habit of staying in their room. So I love toddlers. I've definitely evolved with coaching toddlers. So tools like, we're going to separate episode on it, so I'm going to quit rambling, but visual tools like a color clock, like the Hatch, love the Hatch, a bedtime chart that shows from start to finish what is bedtime, right? Like go into a preschool classroom. There's charts and signs and pictures and arrows everywhere so these kids can understand what's what. Mm-hmm. And that's really all they want, is to understand what's the boundary and what's the consequence when we undo the boundary, right? Or we go against the boundary. Us as the parents, we have to be willing to do what we say and say what we do. Do what we say? Yeah. Do what we say. One last thing, that added variable with twins is what if they're getting in each other's beds? What if they're running around the room? What if they're taking their clothes off? They're going to engage each other in a different way than they could have with cribs, right? My best advice here is make sure that room is super, super safe and there's nothing that you have to worry about, because there's no possibility of anything. The furniture is anchored down. All of the dressers are emptied if needed. The closet door is latched, all of that. And if they want to monkey around a little bit, that does not involve your attention. That's an attention-seeking behavior, and it'll wear off. If the kids interact with each other and dad comes in and says, "You guys don't do," they're gonna giggle, and then they're gonna keep at it. Dad comes in, and that's a cycle. So when you don't give that your attention, it'll wear off like super quick. Can say that with confidence. I think that's all we're going to cover today. So you did too, I did too. We actually have a lot more, and I'd love to expand on this topic a little bit more if we can. Maybe get another episode where we ask for answers in different ones, because there's definitely a good variety of questions that moms are experiencing with their sleep challenges pertaining to twins. Just know that you're not alone. Like, we are your besties when it comes to this topic. I hope you join us every week, whether it's about like a sleep training topic or just a mom topic, twin topic. We look forward to recording every week. If you come back every week, please go into Spotify or Apple and tell us what you like about what you're hearing, because we need an ego boost. Just kidding. Just kidding. We want the algorithm to know that people like what they're hearing. Okay. And so that really means a lot to us if you go ahead and do that. And we will be back next week for sure. Stelina is going to have some 3-year-olds by next time we record. So happy birthday to her twins. She's in a new era. We love 3s over 2s. So congratulations.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And I'll speak to this more on a separate episode too. So stay tuned for that.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. We'll see you guys later. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.
Thank you. If you liked this episode and conversation, be sure to leave a review or rating. Share it with a friend on social media or a family member. It's our goal to reach as many parents of multiples and singletons alike. You're not alone in your parenting journey. If you'd like to hear about a specific topic or have an episode idea, please feel free to message us. We're here to help.